For people who have been forced to return to the office, what reasons did your boss give? Not knowing how to measure real productivity. We lean on attendance hours, productivity theater, and political posturing, all things for which the office is preferred. While some WFH concerns are valid, this return to the office championed by major bosses often stems from wishful thinking and bad faith rather than compassion. The office is not always the productivity and serene paradise that they describe. It all depends on the nature of the work, the working conditions, and the team culture. Many companies are now forcing employees back into the office with some valid reasons and some ridiculous. Do you think WFH is here to stay, or was the pandemic just a blimp and now middle managers are going to pretend that WFH doesn't work? Source: doesn't matter what they say. The real reason is always the same. Control. Totally agree. My boss liked to know where we were. If we went to the restroom or went to eat lunch, she'd have a shit fit and urgently need something that only that missing person could do, and then the world would shatter because she had to wait until we returned. There is no reason. Add to the culture complete BS. My company culture. Isn't it so boring and quiet here? We should force more people to come in more days. That would liven the place up. Woe is us. We have no one to stand around gossiping with. No captured audience forced to listen politely to our boring dreck and nod and smile. Who will validate us? It's just so collaborative, they say, as they load up Zoom for every meeting anyway because the upper management are all remote. It was all fine and good until commercial real estate portfolios started nosediving. Middle management justifying their existence. Commercial real estate and control. X200B. That at it. I think what bosses forget is that many people moved 1,000 miles away from their office during the pandemic, and asking them to RTO isn't just a convenience thing, it's literally asking them to uproot their life again and maybe leave their family behind, which would understandably lead people to quit. It's not just people who don't want to show up to an office twice a week. I think that a lot of bosses don't actually have much to do. So when everyone is working from home, they get bored. When they are in the office, they can play boss with them more easily. Edit fixed typo. My employer went the opposite direction and shut down offices, sending people to work from home. But then again, I've worked from home for almost 10 years now. The pandemic didn't change my life much. Collaboration and creativity. I was told we had to return because the manager of another department who remained in the office this whole time said their team was sad coming to an empty building every day. You can't make this shit up. I'm a shift worker and am required in the office once or twice a week already, so I meet the back to office criteria. For the 9-5 plebs, though, it's the standard corporate bullshit. Teamwork. Isn't it nice to talk to people? Fuck off. Part of the issue is that 98% of companies promote people to leadership not because they are good leaders, but because they were good at that job and they should then magically be good at helping others be good at it. That is generally not the case. So you take someone who is bad at leadership and take away the thing they were actually good at, leaving them with no management training and grasping at anything that gives them control and validation. They didn't even give us a reason. The people at the top of the chain who don't know anything about our work processes just said we need to start coming in 2 days a week. My direct management team are pushing back and trying to fight it as it makes no sense for our team. Might be more direct to ask how many companies gave a reason that wasn't a vague gesture toward culture. Lol. I had a supervisor who micromanaged hard. Didn't know how to actually manage other than asking repeatedly what you were working on. even though the answer never changed. When the office went fully remote, she quit in protest and acted like a victim. Then tried to file for unemployment. We're a company of collaboration, they say over every Zoom call, because our department are spread over 5 states and we never talk to each other in office. Company culture. Gross. Collaboration face vomiting. They're so full of SHT. My project had been telling us for several years we could not work from home due to security issues. By the 3rd day of the UK lockdown, we were all working from home. And they eventually let the office space go because it was shown we were way more efficient working from home, probably because we weren't being constantly dragged into pointless meetings. Productivity and collaboration. But really it's because the CEO just spent a ton of money on a new building and wants to justify the spend. In-person connection and teamwork are the core of our success. What they really meant was, our investment portfolio has too much exposure to industries that are reliant on in-person work. Optics. Straight up said they didn't want my office empty. After I protested, I can get 1 day at home. Trying hard to move it to 2 days. Another reason is that once managers get above direct line supervisor, all they really do is attend meetings. No one wants to be on Zoom meetings all day. They want to put on their suits, pat each other on the back, and then go to a business lunch. You can't do that when everyone is WFH. Saying that 5 days week in the office is never coming back. Those days are gone. I'm twice as productive working at home. We did work from home for a week. They called us all back into the office because having your factory maintenance staff working from home isn't very helpful. As someone who was never given the option to work from home, I am so angry at these policies. That means office monkeys like me will never get a shot at WFH. Meanwhile, the only real reason is that the corporate gaslighting isn't nearly as effective on remote employees. No real reason but wanting to see you to get an illusion of control. I know nothing, but I'm guessing that WFH will be standard when the cost of heating, cooling, plumbing becomes increasingly more expensive for the larger office buildings. WFH is here to stay. Some businesses are not suited to it. Bad managers lose employees. WFH was here over 25 years ago. So why now, after the pandemic, they are acting like it was temporary and not negotiating at a minimum? Hybrid arrangements is beyond me. My CFO lives near our office. I think the reason he's insisting that we all come back to the office is because he would have to downsize the office and could lose his parking space and have to rent one at his apartment. Think about the word forced. Really. Stop and think about it. How did you allow yourself to get to this point? What can you do to change the situation? All I can say from middle management. No, I do not want to come back to the office, never ever. It is solely driven by C-level with the odd possible director level. Every single middle manager I know does not want to be back in an office. Number 1 reason. Real estate. Big companies are on the hook for rent, lights, and everything that comes with operating in an office. Currently, WFH policies waste those dollars that they have to pay. Sure. Other reasons for RTO is accountability of time and attendance, but paying rent for unused space is the main force for RTO. IWFH. After working in an office warehouse, I refuse to RTO. I will quit prior to undergoing the illnesses, lack of windows, and fresh air. Hell, my mental health is more important than this job. Employer says we want you supporting the local mom and dad coffee shops in the surrounding areas. I say, but I don't drink coffee.